channel that is scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. Man, I got a great show planned here. If you're joining the show, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I don't have my Facebook synced up to it, so I have no idea if I'm getting thumbs up or not. Basically, I'm just kind of doing this. I'm just going to talk football. I got a lot of things to talk about. Yeah, I'm looking off to the left here because I like looking at myself. When you're this good looking, you can look at yourself. Okay. In case you are, you know what, if you've been following me for a while, yeah, I'm changing the format. I'm doing live streams on Tuesdays and Fridays at 8 p.m. I know I got some fans from Detroit, so I know Friday at 9. But come on, man, is your night really starting at 9? Is that when you're really going out at 9? Come on, man, you know better than that. So, oh man, I got a comment. One Pride 40 here. Should the Lions trade for Kenyon Drake? I don't think that the Dolphins are trying to get rid of any more players, to be perfectly honest. But if I'm the Lions, yeah, I think that I've kind of noticed that I think Matt Patricia really is high on Alabama players. I think he wants players that can do multiple things. This not only counts on the defensive line and the offensive line. It's a staple of Andy Reid that he wants players that can play multiple positions on the offensive line. Cam Irvin, who's our backup left tackle, his best position's probably guard. When the Browns drafted him, they were going to have him play center, and then they moved him to guard. So, yeah, I mean, they should make an offer, absolutely. Absolutely, they should make an offer. I like Kenyon Drake, and I think he's a decent player. I just don't think Miami's getting rid of any more players. So, but yeah, man. Hey, thanks for the comment, man. That's awesome here. And I'm going to post this up here. This is pretty cool here. Something. There it is. There it is. One Pride 40. I got Detroit in the house, man. And like I said, man, I mean, hey, listen, if you don't stay for the whole show, I don't blame you, man. But you nobody going to tell me it's your night going to start at 9. Like, oh, I got to be out at 9. I mean, come on, you can do something after the show. All right. But, hey, man, great comment. Great way to start the show, man. All my gambling content's now going to be exclusively on my Patreon. Oh, oh, man, the Chiefs comment. That's awesome. They are in the talks with them. Really. I'm a little surprised about that. I just have a hard time believing Miami wants to get rid of more players. But if they're wanting to tank, if they're willing to deal, that's a great move. The Chiefs need Kareem Hunt back. I can't really argue that, but unfortunately that won't happen. I'll be kind of curious how he does when he comes back. In 2 weeks he'll be back. But the problems with the Chiefs really is they had a great game. They had a great game. Don't get me wrong, but the problems with the Chiefs is on the defense. All right. I thought that the game Thursday night was more indicative of how bad the offensive line is with the Denver Broncos. I remember when they drafted Garrett Bowles, he had an interesting story. He went to JUCO, and I think he got in some sort of trouble in high school or something. So he had to go to JUCO before he went to Utah, and he came out of the league in okay. Yeah, they went to I've heard that too. I heard that they really love this kid, and that was kind of the reason why they wanted multiple number 1 picks. And I'm telling you right now, I think it's a huge mistake. And the reason why I think it's a huge mistake is that you got you got Trevor Lawrence coming out in 2021, who I think is going to be a much, much better quarterback. He's got a much higher grade. So that's kind of what I think. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But yeah, they love Tua. They're going to draft him. The funny thing is, when if Cincinnati gets the number 1 pick, because I think if Cincinnati gets the number 1 pick, that they would draft him. But I don't think teams tank, and maybe it's just me being optimistic. I'm gonna drink more coffee, even though I'm tongue-tied anyway. All right, Golden Rooster, man. Here's the deal. The MRI came out. They had dislocated kneecap. They're saying, I'm hearing anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. He may be able to get it down to 3. I think it's just kind of a level of play. So And also, I'm going to post up that comment there, Eagles, Cowboys. And I hate to do this to you, man, because I hate to do this. So all my gambling content is going to be on my Patreon, and I do got to take on that game. But I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this what I've said in my other videos with Dallas Cowboys. People think it's about Dak Prescott or Ezekiel Elliott. It's not. It's all about the offensive line. Tyron Smith is the Cowboys' best player. He's been out the last couple of weeks. That's the reason why they've been losing. If Tyron Smith is playing, they win games. If he's out, because both their tackles have been out the last couple of games. So you have not just your best players out, you also have your other right tackles out. And that's the reason why Dallas Cowboys are losing. People want to make it like, oh, Dak Prescott this. No, it has nothing to do with Dak Prescott. Your best position is your offensive line. And the reason why I preach this constantly, you want to know if a team's doing good or bad, all you got to do is look at the offensive line. Cowboys, the reason why they start off 3-0, they have one of the best offensive lines. Offensive line injuries, they go 0-3. It's that simple. All you got to do is look at the offensive line. The Chiefs, they got backup left tackle. That's part of the reason why they got banged up. I want to say this right now. There's nothing wrong with quarterback sneak. Tom Brady does it all the time, and Tom Brady had a torn ACL. Remember that? Remember that they changed the rules in the league for Tom Brady after he had that done? It was Bernard Pollard. Excuse me. So the call wasn't a bad call. Okay, I'm gonna try to get to these comments here. I got a lot of them here, man. Bring them on, man. Thank you so much here. All right. So Eagles had most that. Yeah, hey, I'm gonna post this because this is a good one here. What I've noticed about the Eagles is I know that they had I think Jason Peters had an injury, and the defense is playing bad. That was the one thing about last year. I remember when Nick Foles came in, the defense all of a sudden started playing lights out. Lights out. They started playing lights out. And they're not doing that. I look at the Eagles, defense doesn't look good. That's why I think that for the Eagles Cowboys, it's all depending on this Tyron Smith and La'el Collins play, because if the Cowboys offensive line shows up and plays, then they probably win the game. It's that simple. When Tyron Smith is the Cowboys' best player, all right? It's not Ezekiel Elliott. It's not Amari Cooper. It's not Dak Prescott. It's Tyron Smith. It's funny because this girl, I used to be in a fantasy football league. It was with some people from work that didn't know anything about football. And this girl tried to tell me she knew more about the Cowboys because I was her team. And she goes, who's best player? I said, Tyron Smith. She goes, I don't even know who that is. I said, we just lost this argument. If you don't even know who Tyron Smith is and you're a Cowboys fan, don't come at me. I want to tell you something. If you're a Cowboys fan and you're a subscriber and you don't know who Tyron Smith is, unsubscribe, get out of here. I don't want to talk football with people that don't know football. I'm here to, you know what? I'm going to change that. I'm educating people. I want to educate people on football, but I want to hear things. You don't have to agree with me. I actually like it when you don't agree with me. Matter of fact, here's a great comment right here. Patrick Peterson may become a Chief. It was funny because right when I got on, I got kind of tied up. But here's the thing. Patrick Peterson, according to the Cardinals, is going to stay in Arizona. Arizona loves this guy. And he got a relationship with Tyrann Mathieu. I don't know if they're cousins. They went to LSU together. They were with the Cardinals together. There's a relationship between the two, and I don't remember exactly what it is. Oh, man, this is a good one here. I love this one, man. Golden Rooster, man, you're on fire, brother. You're on fire, man. I love it. Man, I got to get you on the show, man. Me and you can go back and forth here, man. I love it. I don't see Patrick Peterson becoming a Chief. I think the Chiefs would love that Patrick Peterson. I think the Chiefs would probably – no, I mean, I'm going to say this. Brett Veach has done a bad job as general manager. And I know a lot of people think that he was the guy who introduced the Chiefs to Patrick Mahomes. So a lot of people consider him the reason why Patrick Mahomes is the Chief. Yeah, I get that. But here's the thing. He didn't make that decision. He didn't make the trade. All right. he wasn't the general manager. Since he's been GM, he's made some really bad decisions. You got a quarterback who's MVP last year, and all you got to do is build an average defense, and you can't do that. You can't do it. So, that's something that I think the problem. Here's the thing: the Chiefs don't win multiple Super Bowls. If the Chiefs aren't the team of the 20s, I blame Brett Veach. He was the guy who gave Frank Clark $100 million. He's the guy who decided a first and a second for that he was worth a first and a second when he wasn't. Here's a great question. What I think about the Cowboys coach, I actually like Jason Garrett. I'm probably the only person. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm the only person in the world that likes Jason Garrett, but he's not going to be the Cowboys coach next year. And according to Jerry, it's Super Bowl or bust, and I always hate that. But bottom line, I think that unless they make some sort of run, and I don't think they will, I think he's going to be gone. Kellen Moore, he's the new offensive coordinator. He's the guy who I think is going to be he's the guy who the Cowboys want to be the next head coach, a young, brilliant offensive mind, former backup quarterback. He's going to be an excellent head coach. Kellen Moore is going to be an excellent head coach someday, but I don't know. But as far as Jason Garrett, I think he's an excellent coach. I really do. I mean, I don't put him up there with Andy Reid. I think Sean McVay is an excellent coach. Sean Payton, the Saints coach, very underrated. I don't think he gets enough credit. He's maybe one of the best coaches in football. I wouldn't put him up there, but I think he's an above average coach. I think that there's a team. A matter of fact, I would love to see him go to Atlanta. That would be a great spot for him. And Atlanta's going to, do a lot of coaching changes, maybe a GM change. I've talked about that before. Chiefs defense is playing. They're going to keep getting better. Just wait till you get Chris Jones back. How many sacks would they have had with Chris Jones? How many sacks could they had with Chris Jones? Yeah, Dorsey. Okay, hey, One Pride 40. Let me touch base on this. Here's the rumor mill. This isn't official. Dorsey went to watch Patrick Mahomes play at Ames against Iowa State in the rain, and they lost 42-10. Okay, Iowa State was a 3-9 team. Let me ask you that, and he threw 4 interceptions. Let me ask you this: if the one game you go to watch a college quarterback play, and he loses to a 3-9 team, and they score 10 points, and he throws 4 interceptions, are you going to be high on him or not? The rumor mill was that Andy Reid loved him. Dorsey didn't, because Dorsey was up in Green Bay under old Ron Wolf strategy, which was you take the best player, you never trade up, you always trade down. And so he was completely against it. All right, because that doesn't follow his model. It doesn't follow his plan. He trades down. He doesn't trade up. So the rumor mill was Andy Reid wanted Mahomes. Dorsey didn't. They went ahead and went with Reid because the way the Chiefs' power structure is, it's completely different than any other NFL team. When Clark Hunt fired Scott Pioli in 2012, he decided that he wanted to have more impact and wanted to be more hands-on on the team. Because what they did under Lamar Hunt, his dad, Lamar Hunt had Carl Peterson run everything. Carl Peterson was the president, GM, CEO, everything. So what happened was when he fired Scott Pioli, he had both the head coach and the general manager report directly to him. So basically it wasn't like GM, head coach. It was on the same tier. Both, and then here's the funny thing: when Andy Reid got his contract extension, 30 minutes later, Dorsey was fired. So the rumor mill was that Andy Reid wanted Mahomes, Dorsey didn't. Reid won. The next year, Dorsey was out the door. And the only reason he was out the door is because Reid supposedly said that he wasn't going to work with Dorsey. So even though Andy Reid's not the general manager, he has more power than the general manager. So that I kind of want to touch base on that here. Because I'm assuming since you're a Lions fan, but maybe you didn't know that story. Because Dorsey, if you look, he never trades up. He's always traded down. So that's kind of that. I think the Chiefs defense is playing possum. Just wait till they get Chris Jones. So that's something you got to think about. I think it's more indicative of how bad Denver's offensive line is. That's just how bad the offensive line is. And yeah, you're right. But the whole goal of Steve Spagnuolo, Spags, is that the Chiefs aren't trying to be the 50th, or I'm sorry, they're not trying to be a top 10 team. They're not trying to be, the 85 Bears. That's what I was trying to say. I said 50. I meant 85 Bears. They're not trying to be the best defense in football. They brought Spagnuolo because he could beat Tom Brady and the Patriots, and he did it in 2 Super Bowls. He was defensive coordinator for the Giants. Both years the Giants beat the Patriots, and they held the Patriots, correct me if I'm wrong, to 17 points in both games. That's the whole reason they brought him here. He's not here to make the Chiefs a great defense. The Chiefs are not trying to be a great defense. The Chiefs are trying to be a great offense with pretty good defense. And to be very clear, that defense, that strategy as in history of the NFL really hasn't worked. That strategy hasn't worked. You really need a good defense and an okay offense. The best strategy is what the Patriots do. Great defense, Hall of Fame quarterback. Here, I'm gonna post this here. Golden Rooster, man, you're on fire, man. People are gonna think you're on my payroll, but what's the Chiefs? I think the offensive line for Denver is bad, and I really like Garrett Bowles coming out of college. But his own team's even saying that he's not very good. I mean, his own teammates are even saying, and I don't know if he just can't handle, if he's not athletic enough to handle the outside, if he needs to be moved inside, or if the guy just can't play. I mean, sometimes you get guys that dominate in college and they get in the NFL and they just can't play. He might be one of these guys who's a good athlete, but he's not tough enough to handle the left tackle. He may be better on the right side. He may be better at guard. I don't know, but the offensive line, the number one take that I got is that offensive line's horrible. So here's the thing. Denver's really banking on 2020. All right, they're going to have Drew Lock as the quarterback, and they're going to spend a lot of money and a lot of draft capital fixing up that offensive line, I guarantee you. But I really think Denver is just trying to build towards 2020. They just have to do good enough. At least I think Elway wants to do good enough so he doesn't get fired. So that's just my opinion. Hey, One Pride 40, man, some great comments you're putting in here. I don't know off the top of my head, but there's always one or two surprises. There's always one or two surprises. I could see if it's funny because one of the players who may get traded is going to play against your Lions, and that's Steven Diggs. And I keep hearing this, and I mean, I know Chiefs fans are really wanting him to come here. I tell you the truth, I think the guy's a stud. I'm really surprised he's not happy in Minnesota because, I mean, I think Minnesota's a perfect spot for him because I like Minnesota, but I'm not a huge Vikings fan. But if I'm Minnesota, I think Thielen's your number one, Diggs is your number two. And if I'm Diggs, I'm making a lot of money, and I got a guy on the other side so I can avoid double coverage. I would think Minnesota's the perfect spot for him, but he's not happy there. So, I mean, I could see Steven Diggs, who will knock off the Pats. Oh, man, I'm going to post that here. I'm going to talk about the trade here really quick. There's always a player that you don't see. There's always a player. Kirk Cousins. I'm going to post this real fast. This cracked me up. I don't know what, remember him and Thielen got into it last year. I wonder if Cousins is just one of those guys who just nobody likes this guy. I kind of wonder that sometimes. But I'll say this: I don't think Cousins is going to last. No, I agree. Hey, I'm going to post this too. This is a good one. No, I don't think he does because Thielen's the number one. I think Thielen is the number one receiver. Diggs is the number two guy. And yeah, he may want to go somewhere where he can be the number one guy, but then you get the number one corner. So I would always want to be on a team. Yeah, like I'm this great wide. No, I mean, if I was a good NFL player, a receiver, I would want a good wide receiver on the other side. So I'm not bracketed. I'm not getting double coverage. That would be me. That would be something. Hopefully, if he has a good agent, he's talking him into like, hey, look, stay here. I think Minnesota's going to move away from Cousins. I really do. I think they're going to move away from Cousins. So if that's the plan, and I think it is, if that's the only problem, that him and Kirk Cousins don't get along, I think Cousins will be gone. No, I don't think you like sharing the limelight with Thielen. Thielen's a better player. So, I got to post this. This is a good one. Because this guy was the 5th overall pick in the draft, but I don't think that's going to happen. And the reason why I say that is, brain freeze. The new head coach of the Redskins is an offensive line guy, Bill Callahan. He's an offensive line guy, and Trent Williams is holding out. I think Trent Williams would be a guy. I know that if and Eric Fisher's coming back, but I know if Eric Fisher was going to be out for the whole year, I would try to trade for Trent Williams if you can make it work. So that's something that I would think might be a surprise name because he's still holding out, and this is a stud left tackle. But there's going to be a name that you're not seeing that's going to get traded. Remember Jamal Adams from the Jets? There was even a rumor he wanted to be traded. And the Jets are always they always do some weird things here. And listen, Argo, man, I'm sorry, man. You posted this off here. Who's going to knock off the Pats? If the defense is giving up under 10 points a game, nobody. This is the best Patriots team I've seen in a long time. That defense is phenomenal. And I said this when the Chiefs were 4-0. I think New England's 1, Kansas City's 2. I still think that. I think the AFC is New England and Kansas City. I think it's a 2-dog race. I know both Houston and Indianapolis won a game against Kansas City, but you have to realize something. When Kansas City gets Mahomes back, they're going to get Watkins back. Tyreek Hill's going to be at 100%. They're going to get Eric Fisher back. They're going to get Chris Jones back. And it's kind of cool because if you're going to get these guys injured without season-ending injuries, get them injured now because they're going to be able to come back. Then they're going to get the bye late in the year, and they have a lot of home games late in the year. As a Chiefs fan, I wish they'd have more games in September and October because Arrowhead's a great place in September. It gets damn cold. Nah, they already traded Silverback from Cleveland. Elaborate on that. Is this a trade that was made today? I'm drawing a blank here, man. And I'm gonna be honest. I know my football, but I don't know everything. I'm a little confused about that one. But I love the comments, man. Keep bringing them in here, man. I mean, the whole thing about Andrew's football is I want interaction. I don't want to sit here and talk football. I got an outline. I haven't even started this. He's already been traded. I didn't know Trent Williams has already been traded. That's news to me, man. I'm gonna look this up real fast here. I don't see it here. I thought Trent Williams was still in Washington. He was holding out. Okay, I'm looking at it. I don't see that. Oh, yeah. You know what, man? I apologize. He went to Cleveland. Oh, man, blue and silver. Hey, listen, man, I hate to tell you this, man. This is going to sound like a jerk thing because it's something I just changed. I'm doing all my gambling on Patreon. I do got to take on the game. I do got to take, but you got to go to my Patreon. I'm doing all my gambling stuff on Patreon because that's a game I would put action on. And then, hey, listen, One Pride 40, I did not know that happened. I actually went on ESPN and NFL Network just now, and I don't see that. So let me see here. I'm going to take a look. I didn't see that. Huh. I'll admit, man, wow, that's awesome. No, that's actually a great move because I think Cleveland's loading up, but I don't think Cleveland's serious contender for 2019. I think in 2020 because that's a young team. I'm gonna say this. This is a great comment. Do I like Tom Brady? I respect him. Okay, when Peyton Manning was playing, people would ask Brady or Manning. I would say Manning only because I've been a Chiefs season ticket holder since '89, and Peyton Manning was 11-1 at Arrowhead. And I'll post that in a second, Argo. you might be right. I seen Brady look human at Arrowhead, but the one loss Manning threw for 473 and 5 touchdowns on Halloween. It was a 45-35 game. And Manning at Arrowhead looked superhuman. Manning at Arrowhead looked like the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. Now, he did have some bad games and all that, but just from what I see, I always say Manning's better than Brady. Do I like Brady? Absolutely. And that's another thing. Okay, you remember this offseason, that story that came out about Aaron Rodgers? Argo, I'm gonna post this here. This that's good. But not only is he top 3, you can make an argument he's top 3 of all time, and that's the reason why the New England Patriots are so good, is because Brady knows that if he takes less money, there's more money to go around. And he looks at, like, I think he's making like $20 million a year. And yeah, there's other quarterbacks making more, but he's like, you know what? I won't get paid the top, but I get to win Super Bowls every year. Apparently his wife's worth more than he is. So yeah. And another thing is that he's playing for so long. But yeah, I've heard the same thing. He's approachable. I've heard of multiple players that are like, I heard undrafted rookie free agents, even guys that get cut. Brady goes up, he goes, "Hi, I'm Tom Brady." And it's like, everybody knows who you are. You don't have to introduce yourself, And I've heard Rodgers, I've heard this before that Bleacher Report, that Rodgers was kind of a jerk. Brady does a lot of things. The one thing I respect most about Brady, dude's tough. You don't think about that when you think about Tom Brady, but watch the Giants Super Bowls. He gets the snot kicked out of him. He bounces right back up. Okay. Closing in on it. Keep me updated on that, because I really like that guy. Trent Williams. I remember watching him at Oklahoma. I live here in Kansas City, so I do watch a lot of Big 12 football when I can. And he was and he did so many good at University of Oklahoma. He was just amazing. I mean, it's kind of weird when you're I don't watch a ton of college football, but when you watch a college football and you're looking at an offensive lineman and you're like, did you see that? That's how you know it's good. Nick Golden Rooster, exactly. No, you don't see those guys. And I hate to say this, but Patrick Mahomes is probably going to get something crazy like 200 or 250 million. And the Chiefs are going to go out of their way to pay Mahomes. And it's going to sound like a crazy contract because he's going to be the NFL's highest paid player. But once they set that bar, the next year it'll go down and so on and so forth. But yeah, and Brady realizes, hey, if I take, what's the difference between 20 and 25 million? The dude's loaded. The dude's smart. Yeah. Rodgers didn't do that. That was one thing about Russell Wilson. I thought that was stupid, but right now, and you guys tell me, all right? You guys tell me, is Russell Wilson MVP right now? I would put Russell Wilson as MVP, but I also have Seattle winning that division. I've been saying that. And Argo, what you're saying here, absolutely. Yeah, Manning was ridiculous. I wonder if Manning took less money like Brady did, if maybe they would have won more Super Bowls. And I'm talking Indianapolis, not so much in Denver. So I'm getting some great comments today, man. This is some good stuff here, man. I'm just going to start posting some stuff here you guys are saying. I love this. I wonder if I'm talking to a Lions fan here. Yeah, I listen, man. I know you commented Wednesday, and you're 100% correct, man. You guys got screwed. I will say this: when that Bleacher Report article came out, I wasn't surprised. I've heard that before, and a Packers fan tried to argue with me, and a Packers fan tried to argue with me, saying it was disgruntled teammates. And I said, you know what? This isn't the first time I heard about it. You never hear about that from Tom Brady. You never hear about that from Drew Brees. You never hear that about Matthew Stafford. So somebody commented, and I forgot to post it. He's getting paid under the table. It wouldn't surprise me, but the NFL is really strict about that. But you know what? This is a good one. It wouldn't surprise me if they have some sort of arrangement that after he retires, that he has a position in the New England front office where he's like special associate, and he gets like 20 or 25 million a year. Hold on, I'm going to go backwards here. One pride. Here's the deal with this. The agent gets most of the money in those commercials, not the player. The agent gets, I think it's like half the 75%. So here's the deal. Agents only get, it's like 2.5% of the contract, but the more commercials they can get you in, the agents make all that money. It's the agencies that get paid on the commercials, not the players. The players get something, but it's really the agents that make all the money off the commercials. And that's the thing. When I see a player who's going from a small market to a big market, usually that's the agent trying to press him because the agent wants to get paid. All right, he's getting the contract set. He gets paid for the contracts, and that's what you pay an agent to do. But the agent makes money off of your name because every single commercial, those State Farm commercial, Patrick Mahomes in, whoever's Pat Mahomes' agent, he's collecting a lot of money off of that. So is the NFL fixed? No, I don't believe it is. I heard this recently that a bunch of NFL refs before this season retired and they took payouts because what they did. Remember, was it 2017 or was it 2016 that they had the replacement refs and they were god awful? Remember the fail Mary if you're a Packers fan, And so what happened is they started paying them full time, started giving them a lot of money. Well, a lot of those guys took payouts, and that was part of the contract. So, hey man, listen, Argo, that's what you're here for, man. Yeah, agents get a minimum of 50% on the commercials. Some agents will get 75%, but yeah, anytime you see a player do an ad, the player gets something. But it's the agents that make all the money. The agents set all that up. Yeah, it's why you're here, man. It's why you're here. But is the NFL fixed? No. The NFL's not fixed, but the reason why the refs and the bad calls go that way is because a lot of them retired. I just found this out a couple of days ago that a lot of the refs retired, and a lot of the refs are calling games now, only have a couple of years experience. Remember Ed Hockley? Remember Hockley with the guns? Like he isn't coach. Have you seen him? No, he took that pension that was set up by the referee's agreement. He went and took his pension. He's probably at a gym right now doing curls. But that's what's going on, is that they don't have experienced refs and they don't have the training. And how do you fix it? You suspend them. They're going to work on that in the offseason. One thing I like about the NFL is they're willing to try new and different things. And they do work on things. They add things to the league that make it better. For example, the 2-point conversion, while it was a staple in college football, it was only added. I want to say mid 90s. I don't know exactly. Oh, dude, yes. Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. I love Hockley. But he accepted that pension payout, and that was part of the program that the NFL had. So, okay. I don't really completely agree with that, but it kind of seems that way. Yeah, as a Chiefs fan, I know that D4 didn't look to be offsides, but he was. Normally, you call a play dead. I'm going to say this: even if they didn't get the calls, I still think that they're the best team in football. I mean, what they're doing on defense is just absolutely ridiculous. Through 6 games, they've given up 48 points. And I would say Bill Belichick, this is his best coaching job ever. And this Patriots team may be the best team he's had because he's got offensive weapons. he's got offensive weapons, Packers and Cowboys. I think it's just bad. I will say this. There was a player, oh God, he was part of the 91 Falcons, and he was a high draft pick. He wasn't ever a really good player, and his name escapes me now. And he wrote a book. He ended up being an author, but he wrote about a book about his time in the NFL. And it was funny because he wrote a chapter just on Deion Sanders. And he says, most of you are going to just skip to this page. And he was right. He said he was on a plane with an NFL ref who was just drinking and drinking. He goes, did I get the call right? And he was doing commentary. He's like, no, you missed it. And he's like, man, damn it. And one thing he went into detail about is he said being an NFL official is one of the hardest jobs you can have. Every single person who's ever been on the sidelines of an NFL game has said the same exact thing. It is so fast. It is so fast. It is unbelievable. Do you realize it doesn't look that fast on TV, but a quarterback on the average has to get rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds is not a long time. The game is played at so fast that it's really hard to do. It's really hard to be an NFL official. So I'm going to post some of these comments. Argo, you got a few of them here, man. Pats haven't played anybody. Pats haven't played a good offensive team. Come on. I'm gonna leave that up here. Oh, hold on. Let me put this one up here. I'm gonna put this. This is a good comment, and this is a good comment. All right. Here's the thing, Argo. They've played 6 NFL teams and they've given up 48 points. That's unheard of. I agree with you. The schedule's been easy, but if you're playing 6 NFL games, you give up 48 points. That's insane. That is insane. So, oh, dude, this is a good comment here. Golden Rooster, this is some great stuff here. You're right. Being a referee is very, very, very difficult. It's very hard. I'm drawing a blank on what the player's name was. I know he did some announcing a while back. He was a brilliant guy, and his book was really awesome. But he brought up that the referees, it's a hard job. Now, this new agreement, they get paid a lot more, but it's nothing compared to what NFL players do. And it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Ooh, oh, man. Hey, Boyle, thank you for joining the show. Mike, oh, man, I wish you would come back. Me and you need to get together. Me and you have to get together. And George, you're right. You're 100% correct. The NFL's taking more and more from college. The one thing I don't like about this is that if you watch a college football game, it's 4 hours. Now, keep in mind they have the longer halftime and everything, but I don't want to – I think games that the NFL doesn't want a 4-hour game. I really think that they're trying to keep games in that 3-hour time frame, and they don't want it to go to 4 hours. That's the reason why they haven't adopted the college overtime rules. But I think the reason why they might be against this rule is because they're worried about the time. However, I do agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I think college does have the right call, and I like the way college games are officiated. The one thing I don't like is that college football games 4 hours, where an NFL game's 3 hours. The NFL's big on trying to keep games around 3 hours. Remember, halftime was 15 minutes. Now it's only 12. I wouldn't be surprised that drops down to 10 later on. I'm going to post this here. Man, I'm going to tell you something. I love it when people join in, and I love it when people have a disagreement or agreement. I like Stafford more than most. Is an elite quarterback, top 5. I'm going to say no. Brady, Rodgers, Breeze, Mahomes. Man, you know what? You might be right. I mean, who am I missing that's better than Stafford? I mean, I'm throwing out some names here. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe you are right. But I don't think he's top 5. But I like Stafford better than most. I don't think he's top 5. I just named 4 right there: Mahomes, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Wilson. Yeah, Wilson. I would put Russell Wilson. Matt Ryan. Probably Matt Ryan. I'm higher on Matt Ryan than most people. But yeah, Russell Wilson, I forgot about Russell Wilson, current MVP. I think is MVP. But I do like Stafford. I really do. And George, you're right, man. I mean, I'm telling. Okay, you're right. But I know the NFL's big on this being a 3-hour thing. It's a 3-hour thing. And Boyle, Mike, it's up in the air still, but it looks like it's going to be about 4 to 6 weeks. So is Stafford considered? I consider him. I don't know if I would use the word elite. I would use elite for maybe the top 3 quarterbacks. Here, Golden Rooster nailed it here. He's great, no doubt. I don't know if you're talking about Stafford. I think he's great. I like Stafford better than most. Oh, man, I feel like a dummy, man. I didn't even nail Rivers. Yeah, Rivers better than Stafford. I'm sorry. I've watched Rivers play for a while. I think Rivers is very, very, very underrated. So I would say he's definitely in the top third. And I didn't know this until I went on Luke G's show, but that there's some Lions fans and media that don't like Stafford. I'm like, are you high? And I don't believe that either. I know the quarterback gets too much of the blame and too much of the credit, but I don't think that is true. I think he's been on some teams that just weren't that good. And I'll tell you what, if they get in the playoffs, watch out this year, because I think the Lions have a damn good team. That's going to be a fun game Sunday. I haven't looked at my DVR yet. I don't know if they're playing it here. I'm going to be really mad if they're not playing it here, because that's the one game I really want to see. I really want to see that game. And because I'm going to tell you something, if the Vikings win that game, I didn't know this. I didn't know this until this offseason. I didn't know this. I was shocked. Because I was shocked about this. Bill, this is a great comment. I've been saying this. I said this in my last video, man. I said this in this last video. So, oh man, I'll tell you this. If Minnesota wins, because Minnesota is really, really good at home and they're bad on the road. So if they win in Detroit, watch out, because they'll be 5-2. And they also get to play Kansas City without Mahomes, which is a big break for the Vikings. But if I am in the playoffs, if I'm an NFC team in the playoffs and I got to go against Detroit, I'm really scared. I am really, really scared. You know, I mean, I do not want to play the Lions in the playoffs. That just cracked me up. No, you're right. You're right. You really are. I was in shock when I found out that I thought Stafford was like, I'm gonna tell you something. Patrick Mahomes could walk into a school, urinate on a kid, and if somebody called the police, the cop would ask for his autograph. There is nothing Patrick Mahomes can do wrong. They got a video of him putting ketchup all over a steak. I mean, there's nothing this guy can't do. You know what happened in the offseason? Since I got a bunch of Detroit fans here, they probably don't know this. He bought a house here in Kansas City because he's from Texas. He lives in Texas. So he bought a house here in Kansas City. KCTV5 News put the house with the address on the news. They put Patrick Mahomes' home address on the news. I mean, how stupid can you be? But, yeah, people are going nuts. So, yeah, I was really surprised that Detroit media wasn't that way over Stafford, because I love the guy. I love the guy. And this is another thing. I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you. 100%. The only thing I will say is that Alex Smith won a lot of games. And while it's not a stat, I think it should be stated. I mean, look, the Redskins last year were 6-3 with a healthy Alex Smith. They finished 1-6, and then they went 0-4 before Gruden was fired. So, no, it's not a stat. I 100% agree with you. It's not a stat. Matter of fact, Matt Ryan may be playing the best quarterback. Matt Ryan may break the passing record this year. He's got 2,011 yards through 6 games. He may break the passing record, and part of it is because that defense is so god awful, but he may be playing some of the best football in the NFL. And I know he's thrown 7 interceptions, 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, but this is a good one. This is a good one. So I'm fully aware of this, but I will say that Alex Smith won. He was a winner. And no, it's not a stat. And he had some good defenses here in Kansas City. He really did. If you look it up, the first couple of years Andy Reid came here, the Chiefs had a really good defense. Oh, dude, yes. I mean, the whole story with his wife is really, I hate to say awesome because she almost died, but I mean, dude, he's going back from the hospital to work, and he's playing some great football. I watched Stafford play as a freshman at Georgia, and I heard about the hype because there were several different quarterbacks there, but they talked about this freshman with the bazooka arm. He may get to start, and so he got to start, and I wanted to watch him. I watched him for 5 minutes, and I said, "Oh, this dude's first rounder," as a true freshman. Yeah, and Argo, you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct, and a lot of the time he was here in Kansas City, he had a good defense. But in Washington, he didn't really have that. I will say this. Remember, Washington had to sign Adrian Peterson. They kept on getting running backs hurt. And he was running. He was doing a lot more. Actually, those 9 games in Washington, he did a lot more than he did in Kansas City. If Alex Smith doesn't get hurt, I think the Redskins go to the playoffs at least, and Gruden probably gets an extension. I also heard he's had something like 23 surgeries. It's something crazy. He's never going to play again, which is I'll talk about that in a second, but he's probably never going to play again. And he's a charismatic, very, very intelligent guy. And matter of fact, there's this guy, and I thought about doing a segment on my show where I start blasting people on social media for some of the stupid comments that they make, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to attack people because I might do it someday. I'm not going to say it now. But bottom line, I don't want to sit here and attack stupid fans for saying stupid things, but there is some stupid things being said. All right, I'm kind of getting on a rant here. I'm going to post some comments here. I think this is some good stuff, man. Yeah, dude, she's a good looking girl, man. She's a good looking girl. And yeah, he had like a broken bone in his back. Dude's never missed a game. When you break down some of the greatest players of all time, I was arguing one time about Brett Favre with a guy who I used to work with, really, really cool guy. For some reason, he was a Dolphins fan, and he told me the long story because he's from Oklahoma, and somehow he was a Dolphins fan. I can't remember the correlation, but anyway, we were arguing about Brett Favre, and I said, you got to give him credit. Look at all those games he played. So what? He played a bunch of games. You realize how hard it is to play in that many games? I said this on Luke G's show, and Luke this cracked him up. I said, Stafford's tougher than a 99-cent steak. I mean, the dude had like a broken back. He hasn't missed a game in I think since 2012, 2011. I think that when you grade players how great they are, part of it is can you be counted to play every single game? And I said, before you call Mahomes one of the great quarterbacks, give him more than a year. Because look, if he misses 3 to 4 games every year, is he okay? I think Rodgers at his best is better than Favre, but I'll always take Favre because I know Favre is going to play every single game. You can't knock Favre out of the game. You can knock Rodgers out of the game. So I would take Favre over Rodgers, even though I think Rodgers is better. All right. I think Detroit Lions fans don't understand. If there's people complaining about him, dude hasn't missed a game in like 7 seasons, and he had a 5,000-yard season. I know Mahomes had a 5,000-yard season too, but those things don't grow on trees. And bottom line, he's really not had a lot of talent around him. And I thought Caldwell was a horrible, horrible coaching decision. Horrible coaching decision. So I would. I know he signed for big money. I think he's making like $20 million this year or something. Matt Ryan, actually, no. Matt Ryan missed a game not too long ago, I believe, because I went ahead and I looked it up, and Rooster's going to check it out. But I remember the streaks are I know Stafford's like fourth or fifth longest. Flacco is up there too. Keep in mind that streak was broken. I looked up consecutive games played, and I think Matt Ryan, I think he missed a game. But Matt Ryan as a guy is really tough. I think Matt Ryan's one of the most underrated players in the league. He may be playing the best football of any other quarterback. No, you're right, George. You're right. No, there's not very many. Stafford has one. I know Mahomes has one. In '84, Marino broke that barrier. People thought that 5,000 passing yards for the longest time was like saying, "Hey, I'm going to throw for a jillion yards." And then I remember in a 14-game season, I think Fouts threw for like 46 or 4,800 yards. But at the time, it was like, oh, he's throwing for like 8 jillion yards. It was like 5,000 was like a made-up number. It was something that a lot of people considered couldn't be done. Some people thought Mahomes could throw for 6,000 this season. And I said no, because I want the Chiefs to run the ball more. But Andy Reid wants to throw the ball. All right. And I kind of want to touch base on something. I said that I didn't want to blast people, but this was an article on I want to talk about this. Some moron for USA Sports. I'm not going to say who it is because he doesn't deserve to have his name. Colin Kaepernick is the perfect replacement for Holmes. I got to touch base on this. Yes, I warned everybody that this Raiders. Here, let me tell you the scariest part. Burfett. Fontes Burset, hopefully I'm getting that right. Excuse me, was a team captain. Antonio Brown was your best player. Both those guys are gone, and he's got that team to 3-2, and they're playing some good ball. And this is a young team. They redid that roster completely in the offseason, and the Raiders are 3-2, and they're looking good. They are looking good. That defensive line that they got is scary. Hurst they got with the 5th pick. If you don't remember the story, Hurst had a heart condition at the combine. They didn't even let him participate in the combine. He was not only expected to be in the first round, early first round. They were talking about him going top 5. Raiders took him in the 5th round. Then they got Arden Key, who is after a sophomore year, he had 12 sacks at LSU. He was projected to go top 10. He had like a weird story. He had like a family friend or a sister die, and he left the team for a couple weeks to kind of deal with this. And then, the weird thing is that when he came back for the combine, for some reason, he lost like 30 pounds. So at the combine, he was like 238, even though he played at 260. Then he ran like a 4.85. So he lost 30 pounds, but he wasn't that fast. The Raiders took him in the 3rd round, and he looks like he's a player. So, dude, they got 2 potential top 10 picks on that defensive line for a 3rd and a 5th. So that means you're not paying any money for those guys. That way you can invest money on Trent Brown, who's in the issue was here's the thing about the Trent Brown situation, and I hope that I'm not going to offend people or insult people, but when I hear a lady suing an NFL player or professional athlete in a civil suit, and that's exactly what it is against Trent Brown, that U.S. civil suit means it's a money thing. She's doesn't really care about what happened. She's just trying to get money out of this guy. He signed a big contract, and then she wants a civil suit. And I know I'm going to come across like I'm a bad guy here, but when I hear a woman suing a professional athlete over a civil suit, I really question that. I question the validity of it because you didn't do it right away. Because apparently this happened like in 2017 or 2018. Then he signs a big contract. Oh, well, now it's not okay. It's you're rich. I worry, but bottom line, he may be out, and that's going to be a big deal. That may be a big deal. Argo, man, I'm glad you agree with me. I know I'm going to come across like a jerk here, but if something bad really happened and you reporting it after he gets a big contract, I kind of question that. Mack was worth the trade. I think so. They got I can't believe I forgot his name, and I was really high on him. They got the running back out of Alabama, and he looks like he's going to be a stud. That's the player they got. I think they got more picks. So, yeah, I thought it was a good trade for both sides. The Bears are building on defense. And like I said, how the Patriots win great defense, Hall of Fame quarterback. Well, the Bears like Trubisky, and they're building around the defense. The thing is, though, Trubisky's going backwards. George, yeah. I've been telling people the same thing. I told people, watch out. You know what's fun? If Mahomes can stay healthy in the 20s, Chiefs and Raiders are probably going to be two of the best teams in the AFC. It'll go back to the 60s where both teams – and actually there was some time in the 90s. The Raiders in the 90s, early 90s, had some pretty good teams, but then it just went way downhill. But, yeah, you're 100% correct. 100% correct. Dude, yeah, I know. I love how they're building this team. And I love okay. When they drafted the kid out of Arkansas, the offensive lineman, and I'm drawing a blank on the name, and I'm forgetting the name. I feel bad now. But anyway, they drafted the kid in the first round, and he was going to play center. Now he's playing at guard. I was kind of skeptical because I saw a lot of things had a second, third round grade. He's played lights out. The offensive line looks a lot better. The defense looks really good. The Lions are good. They're a team that going forward, somebody, and it might not have been you, but I was listening to some of the Detroit Sports Alliance, and they were talking after the Chiefs-Lions game. This is a Super Bowl preview, and I'm like, oh, God. No, because Patriots are still the best team in the AFC. And the Lions, to me, are a team that's going to be better in 2020. To me, the Lions are still building. That's what I see when I look at the Lions. I don't have a dog in the fight, and I love the comments, so I want to keep Detroit comment in here. But bottom line, yeah, I think that they're a year away. But they're building. I love how they're building the team. Here, this is some good stuff here because I'm hearing this from multiple people here. All right. First of all, this isn't going to happen. If you remember, Trubisky was drafted before Mahomes, before Watson, and the Bears traded from the third pick to the second pick just to get him. Excuse me. So the Bears are invested in this guy. And I'm going to say it. I actually liked him more than Watson and more than Mahomes. I love Trubisky coming out of college. And dude, you're right. You are 100% correct. Yeah. Yes. The Bears could have took Mahomes. The Bears could have took Watson. Me and a lot of other people like Trubisky more. I'm going to say that. I loved Trubisky coming out of North Carolina. I watched a lot of him, and I thought this guy was going to be a great quarterback. And I still think he could be a great quarterback, but he does not look good. Ever since that first game, I watched him that first game, and I could have sworn. Remember last year he went to the Pro Bowl. He actually went to the Pro Bowl in 2018, and I'm like, man, the Bears are building something. But if you watched my videos, I say this all the time. When you have a team that goes either up or down in a large amount of victories, and remember the Bears went from 5 wins to 12 wins, it always comes back down the next year. It happened in Kansas City. When Andy Reid first got here, they went from 2 wins to 11 wins, then to 9 wins. It always happens. So I knew the Bears weren't going to win 12 games. People are like, Bears going to go to Super Bowl. I'm like, how do you see that? No, and also they got rid of Jordan Howard, which I thought was really bad. I thought that was a dumb move because even though he wasn't your main guy and even though he's not a superstar, you really needed a running game. What's the best thing for a young quarterback? A running game. And I know Chiefs fans are going to go ahead and say, okay. All right. Here's the thing. This is a great comment. Now here's the thing. The Chiefs had to trade up. And I don't think it'll ever be made public, but Bill O'Brien really, really wanted Mahomes. Bill O'Brien wanted Mahomes bad. And they were going to try and trade up. but turned out to be the Chiefs made a better offer than the Texans did. And the Texans only had to trade up 2 spots. It's either that or the Texans were thinking, hey, we really, we can take Watson. But Bill O'Brien really wanted Mahomes. And I don't think he'll ever publicly say it, but I know Bill O'Brien was gushing all over Mahomes. The Chiefs, there was rumors and there was talk, but it wasn't as bad. Bill O'Brien loved Mahomes. And but the rumor, well, here's the thing: when these quarterbacks came out, they did. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Not only that, Jordan was solid. I want to tell you something. And most people agree that coming out, now you got to realize before the draft, Mahomes was like a second, third round player. Then the draft came out, and then the Gruden interview. If you watch ESPN, Gruden had the Gruden QB camp. Gruden came out and he said, if you had to draft any quarterback, take this kid Mahomes. And Gruden and Reed go back a long way. And I think that quarterback camp really propelled Mahomes to be a top 10 pick, because there was talk about him being a third round pick. Remember, nobody from an air raid offense ever did anything in the NFL. There was like 6 or 7 quarterbacks that came out. I mean, high picks too. I remember Andre Ware. Remember Andre Ware? He did nothing. Everybody thought this guy was going to be a superstar. Him and Barry Sanders, all Detroit's going to light up the league. You guys Lions fans, you remember Andre Ware? Do you remember him? Yeah, I mean, dude, hey, I mean, this was bad. So yeah, it was not a good situation. But anyway, I love Trubisky coming out of college. That is just the honest to God truth. I love the kid. I thought he was going to be a really good player. I still think he is going to be a good player. Dude, I'm sorry, man. I bring that up because air raid, run and shoot quarterbacks have never done good in the pros. That's why when we drafted Mahomes, I hate these Chiefs fans to come out like, I knew Mahomes was going to throw for 5,000 yards his first year as starter. No, you didn't. Shut up. No, you didn't. Bottom line, you didn't know. And a guy, I'm not going to say who he is, guy. I like him. I follow him. He said that this is going to go down as the greatest trade of all time. No, it's not. Because what the Bills did is they ended up getting Tre'Davious Ward, who would be the best defensive back on the Chiefs right now. They ended up getting Josh Allen, who Bills fans are in love with this guy. And they got this guy, Tremaine Edmonds. If you are not a Bills fan and you just like football, watch number 49. It looks like, okay, I don't play Madden anymore, but they still have that thing where – you know what? I would love that. I wonder, can Mike make it happen? They have that mode where you could create a player. Do you oh yeah. I mean, no, okay. He looked good, but I knew that when we drafted him, I wasn't sitting here, and some people were like, oh, he's going to be great. There's this one guy I used to work with, and oh man, I could talk about how much I don't like this guy, but he was a big Mahomes guy. He actually called it. I got to give him credit. He called it, but he's like, oh, Mahomes should start his rookie year. I'm like, no. Here's the thing with Mahomes is that it's not just Mahomes, but it's the system. He had Alex Smith teaching him how to play for a year. And I think that's really important. I think that quarterbacks should all sit for a minimum of 1 year in a good system, in a good, stable franchise. Like with for example, Patrick Mahomes. Dude, dude, he's 6'4", he's 255, but he runs like a wide receiver. It is freaky. Here's my point. They get their franchise quarterback. They get a guy who's probably going to win defensive MVP someday. Plus, they get Tre'Davious White, who would be the best defensive back on the Chiefs. They get those 3 guys for Mahomes. So the guy who, even though I like him, he said that the Chiefs had one of the best trades of all time. No. The Bills are loading up. Have you seen that defense? That defense in Buffalo is for real. And they got a young quarterback who they are in love with. They love this kid. and he's got a lot of potential. Right now, Josh Allen's a below average quarterback. I'm gonna say he's below average quarterback, but the ceiling's off the charts. But no, the trade wasn't a trade that was a lopsided trade. The Bills are. This is a great question. I'm gonna finish my sentence. I'm gonna answer this. The Bills are building a really, really, really good team. I love Josh Allen, but right now today, he's a below average quarterback. I think Josh Allen has more upside than any quarterback in the NFL. The dude's built like a tight end. He's got the strongest arm in the league, and I'm including Mahomes. Now, Mahomes has tons more arm talent. That's kind of funny. I disagree with you, Argo. I disagree with you. The Bills love Josh Allen. They are in love with this kid. But right now, he's a below-average quarterback. But his potential and ceiling is unlimited. There's nothing the guy can't do. But the thing is with Josh Allen is that he's a raw guy. It's funny. I used to. I haven't done it in a while. I took Krav Maga with one of his college teammates. This was when Josh Allen was a senior at Wyoming. I took Krav Maga with one of the guys who was a linebacker at the University of Wyoming, and I asked him all about. Josh Allen. I said, can you tell me something about the kid? And he goes, the guy can do anything. The guy can play tight end. He can play linebacker, maybe wide receiver, but he's raw. Now, I'm going to say this, and hopefully this sticks in. Here's one of his teammates saying he's raw at Wyoming. This isn't a Power 5 conference. So I think the Bills, even though I know that they love the kid, I think they're really using him wrong. They're using him on lot direct runs. They got him killed almost. Now, I don't think that was a dirty play, by the way, but I think any team that's using quarterbacks like running backs is just asking for trouble. And I don't like the way they're using him in Buffalo, but they are in love with him. If I'm Buffalo, I revamp that offense completely. And I would do. It's an old trick, and I don't think teams do this anymore. I would tie his shoelaces together and make him work on his footwork. It's an old quarterback coaching drill that the players tie their laces together. So there's like only, this much distance. That way you're forced to use smaller steps and you can't run. And they need to do that with Josh Allen. They need to build an offense. So, because what they did is Sean McDermott came from Carolina, and it's funny, for the longest time I was calling them the North Panthers because it seems like they're copying everything they're doing. Josh Allen reminds me more of Cam Newton, but they need to stop making him like Cam Newton. Quit running the damn ball. Keep running the damn ball. Okay, I was going to talk about this, and I'm going to show some comments here. I was really curious if Gruden and Carr would be a good fit. And the reason why I say this is look everywhere Gruden's gone. Okay, remember he was an offensive coordinator in Philly, and he benched Randall Cunningham for Bubby Brister, who was a veteran who bounced around from team to team. He goes to the Raiders, and dude, you're right. Yeah, they do that now. Yeah. Same thing. But you get what I'm saying. These are some great. This is some great stuff, man. This is some great stuff here. But where was the comment I wanted to leave up here? Okay. I really wasn't sure if Carr and Gruden would really get along. All right. I didn't think they would get along because Gruden had Bubby Brister, and then he went to the Raiders. Who did he follow? Who did he get? He got Gannon. All right. And then when he went to Tampa Bay, he had Brad Johnson, who was the quarterback in Minnesota. Remember, he got injured and Randall Cunningham took over for him. Gruden's always liked quarterbacks that got chip on their shoulder. And I remember this story is that Rich Gannon came into practice in the first practice and was kind of going lackadaisical, and he threw his helmet and started chewing the whole team out, offense and defense. And he said if anybody had a problem, he'd fight every single one of them then and there. And that really kind of boosted the team up. And that's the type of guy I think that Gruden wants, is an older veteran, a guy who's been around the league for a while, a guy who's different than Derek Carr. So I don't know if Carr and Gruden are really a good fit. I've always wondered that, but so far it's looked good. I would not be surprised if the Raiders draft a quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But Gruden likes veterans. He's always been a guy who likes veterans everywhere he goes. So I wouldn't be surprised if he looks at a veteran, somebody like, for example, Teddy Bridgewater. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes after a veteran quarterback who's been around, who feels like he's got something to choose. Because one thing about Derek Carr is that, okay, you don't think he's a good quarterback. There's lots of GMs in the league that do like Derek Carr, and he does have a lot of trade value. And the Raiders proved that they have no problem letting go of their best players. I actually thought that they were going to draft a quarterback this season and have him sit for a year. So, no, yeah, absolutely. I would want him here in Kansas City. If Kansas City was able to, now they have to make the contract work, which I don't think it would, but I want to drink some. I would love to have Mariota as a backup. All right, let me touch this. John Gruden started out as a wide receivers coach in Green Bay with Sterling Sharp and a guy by the name of Mark Clayton. Most people don't remember Mark Clayton. But one thing is, watch Mark Clayton in Green Bay. He used to wear sunglasses. And basically that's the – I got to post this. This cracked me up, man. Anyway, he had a gift of getting along with wide receivers that had big egos. And then he went to Philadelphia, and he was the offensive coordinator there. He was the one that made the decision to bench Randall Cunningham, and it wasn't a popular decision, but a lot of people thought it was the right decision. Eagles ended up winning games, and that's how he got the job in Oakland. But if you notice what he did in Oakland, one of the first guys he tried to sign was Jerry Rice. And then when he went to Tampa Bay, he ended up bringing Tim Brown over there. He loves veteran receivers, and it's one thing that him and Andy Reid have in common. They run very complex offenses, and they want veteran wide receivers. A staple of John Gruden is that he wants veteran wide receivers. Everywhere he goes, he tries to get a veteran, and he loved it. And I'm not sticking up for Antonio Brown, but the thing is about Antonio Brown that Gruden likes, he's an excellent route runner, and he works his butt off. So, trying to remember. No. Okay. He ended up benching him and Keyshawn Johnson did not get along. And Johnson didn't. Here's the thing. I thought this would work, and it didn't. So, but Gruden likes veteran wide receivers. He always has. They gave up a lot of draft capital for Keyshawn Johnson, and that didn't work out. I'm surprised I haven't mentioned this earlier. I love Matt Patricia. The one thing is that when they brought in Matt Patricia, I did not like Caldwell at all. I thought that was a huge mistake, because I remember when Caldwell took the job, he said, I'm going to work with Stafford and switch his motion. And the problem wasn't with the offense. The problem was the defense was really bad. And he wanted to create a team just like just like the Indianapolis Colts. Hey, George, you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. But here's the thing is that Caldwell wanted to create a team like the Colts, which had a great offense and a fast, non-aggressive, non-physical defense that created turnovers but wasn't very physical. You remember the Colts teams in the 2000s with Peyton Manning. Caldwell's the offensive coordinator. He wanted to do the same thing in Detroit. I thought it was a huge mistake, because I thought they should have got a defensive guy. I thought they wasted a couple of years of Stafford because they didn't have a defensive guy. Get a guy on defense and help that defense, because you got the quarterback set. So work on the defense. And now they're going with the defensive guy. And I love Patricia, but I also knew that he wanted to bring in a completely different defense and a completely different offense. So I knew Detroit wasn't going to be that good of a team last year. I knew Detroit was going to go down in wins, but I thought the upside was good. And it's still going on. it's not over yet. They're still building. I think they're going to be a lot better in 2020 than they are in 2019. So I do like Matt Patricia. I think it's a great hire. Excuse me. I think he's going to be a great coach. And George, I made this comment. Yeah. He Keyshawn Johnson. What the deal was is that Warren Sapp supposedly was trying to get Keyshawn Johnson to come in, and what it is, they all worked out together down in Florida. And Keyshawn Johnson's from LA, and Keyshawn, as soon as he was signed, they were like, "Hey, come on down here. We all train together." He's like, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna train here in LA. I don't want to be." And it really bothered Warren Sapp, because Warren Sapp, when apparently lobbied Gruden, apparently talked to Gruden. He apparently, him and Gruden got along really, really well, kind of an underrated friendship. And apparently Sapp, you got to remember, Sapp back then was huge. I mean, he was the face of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because that defense won a Super Bowl, not the offense. And when he basically kind of gave, and remember, he got suspended from the team with pay. Keyshawn Johnson made a lot of money from Tampa Bay, and they just kicked him off the team. They're like, "Stay home. We don't want you here." But he kind of turned it around, because remember, he went to the Cowboys for a while, and he got along really well with Bill Parcells. And then, I'm kind of going on a rant here, but then Jerry Jones brought in Terrell Owens, and they had to cut Keyshawn Johnson. That was what ended up making Bill Parcells leave. Speculation. Well, dude, Chase Daniel was here in Kansas City for a long time. He went to MU. And, dude, my Chiefs review, your best Chiefs. Your Chiefs reviews, you're the best Chiefs. Hey, Argo, man. Thank you, man. You know what? I'm switching to live stream because I want to get more interactive. I want to hear what people. My whole goal of doing this is I just want to talk football, man. Okay, awesome, man. Hey, well, dude, listen, man. Argo, thank you. I'm gonna leave this up for a little bit. I love it because I love that you said this, because it was funny, because I broke down all 32 teams, and I want to talk football, 32 different franchises. I got a lot of love in Detroit. I was surprised. I got a request from somebody asking what was wrong with the Falcons. I got a lot of Falcons followers. Nobody on the live stream yet, but I love the Chiefs. I've been a Chiefs season ticket holder since '89. So I'm a Chiefs fan, but I want to talk 32 teams. I want to talk to 32 fan bases. I want to hear from everybody. I want to hear from people that say, dude, I'm going to leave this up just for a second here. And I'm going to tell you something, man. That's the reason why I want you to follow Andrews Football, because a lot of these guys are fanboys and a lot of these guys are idiots. A lot of these guys have no idea what they're talking about, and I try to be objective because I'm talking about 32 different teams. I want to break down. But what I did with the Chiefs this offseason, I did the good and then the bad and then the Vegas. I made 3 different videos instead of just making one, and I did that for every team, and I kind of regret doing that because I got a lot of hate from Chiefs fans because I made a video, top 5 things I don't like about the Kansas City Chiefs, and everything I said was correct. And then I got a lot of people that are like, "Oh, if you don't like the Chiefs, just don't be a fan anymore." And it's like, no, I've watched my video, top 5 things I like about the Chiefs. I think Chiefs are going to win a Super Bowl. I don't feel that way now because I think New England is just playing lights out. Dude, I cannot agree with you you're 100% correct. I hated Caldwell because he came in and what he said was that I'm going to fix Matthew Stafford. There's nothing wrong with him. Now, Stafford's completion percentage did go up, but they wanted to be a passing team, and they wanted to do what Indianapolis did, and you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. So, dude, hey, man, I'm glad you're here, man. Dude, I can talk Falcons. I want to talk all 32 teams. Andrews Football is a place where if you want an expert opinion, you come here. I can be an expert opinion. And you want to watch my opinions, I got a video while I'm in Vegas with 2,000 reasons in each hand of why I'm an expert on football. And that's the reason why I created my Patreon. I'm doing gambling specifically on Patreon. So, hey, man. Hey, Argo. Hey, listen, brother. Great comments. I love your stuff. Hey, man, have a good time at work, and I will see you Tuesday. Hey, George Morgan. Hey, thanks for coming in. Hey, man, I know you're on the East Coast, man. I hope that you going out to the club tonight. I hope you're gonna have some fun. But hey, thanks for the great comments. I'm gonna put this up here, and then I also want to touch base on this. I can talk all 32 teams. I can talk all 32 teams. I want to hear from people because I want to hear inside information. Reason why I got a lot of Detroit love here is because I went on Luke G field review, and I was asking him about the Lions because the Lions over under for the year was 6.5. And I'm like sitting here going, I don't see a 6.5 win team. Am I wrong? Let me find out. With the Falcons, over under on the Falcons was 8.5. And I looked at it, and it was kind of torn because they're more talented than an 8-win team, but because of the schedule, I had them under 8. And then I was very clear. I hated what the Falcons did. Oh, all right. Hey, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're here. Like a Charger or a Rams. Okay, hold on here. I got the comments outlined here. Caldwell, no, you're right. He made his money because he was with Tony Dungy. All right. Here's the deal. If you're on Tony Dungy's team, Tony Dungy wants to run the defense. He wants to leave the offense alone. And what Tony Dungy wants to do is he wants to run that Tampa 2 defense, which is perfect for an indoor team. And I know that the best Tampa 2 defense of all time is in Pittsburgh. I understand that. But the thing is with the Tampa 2 defense is it emphasizes speed, right? So when you have speed, you have a great offense. Tony Dungy was like, hey, look, I just worry about the offense. Do what you want to do on offense. I'm going to mess with the defense. And he did a great job on the defense. He was the guy who built that Tampa defense that Gruden won a Super Bowl with. So this is great, man. I love this stuff, man. Hey, man, we ain't going all night, but we're going to be here for a little bit. But I you know what, in LA with golf and everything, he would be good. I don't know where he is now. I don't think he's an offensive coordinator anywhere, but would I have a problem if he was my offensive coordinator? No, I wouldn't. I think that, oh, man. Oh, dude, I love it. Bill, thanks, brother. I love this stuff here. And it's funny because I got on Facebook, but I get really irritated because there are some people on social media that just drive me nuts talking about the Chiefs and some of the stupid things. And I want to cover this real fast here. It's one of the things I said I was going to cover. I may not get a chance to cover 16 games like I was going to, but if you guys got comments, I want to hear. That's why I'm here. I want to talk football. The whole point of creating this channel is I just want to talk football. And I love football, and I want to talk all 32 teams, but yes, I am a Chiefs fan. Yes, I am a Chiefs fan. Okay, you're right. And I think what's going to happen is I think in the future he's going to have a much more varied defense. I think he's going to change some things up. I think the system that he has right now, he's kind of sticking with man. I think next year you're going to see a lot more zone and a lot more creativity. It wouldn't surprise me that later on in the season if he goes a lot more zone. So I'm gonna brag about myself. Bill, thanks, brother. Yeah. Hey, here's the deal, man. I got a lot of Detroit love. I went on a couple shows with a guy called Luke G. He does Luke G Field Review. Great show. And I love talking with him. And his show is kind of what kind of inspired me to do a live stream because I love his live stream. And dude, I know. I know this, man. I mean, I know this. This is kind of the reason why I wanted to create this channel is because I'm somebody who's been watching football. I've had season tickets for 30 years, but I don't follow baseball. I don't follow basketball. I don't follow hockey. When the Royals were in the World Series, I watched none of it. I don't even know a single Royals. I don't care. And nothing against baseball. You like baseball? Great. More power to you. I only follow football, and I follow football 365 days a year. That's all I do. Right after the Super Bowl, I'm breaking down all 32 teams, and I use what I call plus minus scale. It's not very creative, but teams that are older, I'll instantly give a -4. And then teams that are younger, like for example, I think the Cleveland Browns got a young team. I think the Lions got a young team. I would give them a plus. This year with the Kansas City Chiefs, I had them at a neutral. I had them as a push because they're switching schemes, and I wasn't sure if that defense was going to be up to speed. I didn't really have them positive or negative. I think for 2020, and I'm kind of curious when they're going to get Mahomes the money. Because I think the Chiefs will go down once Mahomes gets that $200 million or $250 million, because somebody's not going to be able to make it. Sammy Watkins isn't going to be a Chief next year. Chris Jones may not be a Chief next year. He was holding out for more money this year. And now keep in mind, they had a great game last week. He will be back next week. So that is going to help. But yeah, we got a tough game against the Packers in 10 days. So that's going to be tough. I pretty much agree with that statement, but I will say this. I think Patricia is going to switch some things up. I mean, better us. Well, I'll tell you what, I love Anthony Barr. Matter of fact, one of the things they did is, I don't remember the year exactly. I want to say 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. They suckered the Browns. The Vikings had the 9th pick. The Browns had the 8th pick. Or no, it's flip flop. The Browns had the 9th pick. The Vikings had the 8th pick, and the Vikings really wanted Anthony Barr, who they ended up taking. Well, they convinced the Browns that they wanted to take Justin Blackman, a corner out of Oklahoma State, who looked like he was going to be awesome. I mean, the dude is 6 foot, 200, return punts, ran like a 4.33 at the combine. But the best he ever was like a third team all Big 12. And if you know anything about the Big 12, they don't play defense really in the Big 12. And people were like, the dude's got all this talent, but he's just not that good of a player. Well, it turns out to be he really just didn't like football. So they suckered the Browns into giving up an extra 5th. And so they flip-flopped spots. The Browns took this guy who 2 years later, they got rid of him. And the Vikings get Anthony Barr, who they were in love with. The one thing is about the Vikings is I don't know what they're going to do about Stephon Diggs, because apparently he's unhappy, and I think he's an excellent player. And I don't think that they like Kirk Cousins. They gave him a lot of money, and I think that what they're going to do is that I don't think they have enough trade capital to go up and get a really good quarterback, but I don't see them picking up somebody in free agency either. I think that they're going to try to draft a quarterback in the 1st or 2nd round and hope that works out. I think this draft, I think the Vikings take a quarterback, they go with Cousins, and then in 2021, they're going to go ahead and get their guy. So, I mean, but when I say that younger, if like, for example, I think the Cleveland Browns, when I break right after the Super Bowl, Monday after the Super Bowl, I break down teams, all 32 teams, and I just break them down plus minus, which ones I think, and that's how I break the teams down. But as soon as Super Bowl's over, I don't start watching something else. The only other thing I watch except for football is March Madness, and I just watch March Madness. I don't watch any of the conference games or anything like that. That's it. Sometimes. And when I say free agency, it's also trades. I do like how the Lions got aggressive last year. Ndamukong Suh, I think meant a lot more to that team than people think. I think Ndamukong Suh really helped out. They also remember they got Peters. There was also a third person. But as a general rule of thumb, I think teams that spend a lot of money in free agency, I think you have to have a good combination of things. You want to build through the draft and add a player or two. in free agency. What the Packers did this offseason, I thought was pretty good. They're building through the draft, but then they went ahead and got a couple pass rushers, which they really needed. So, excuse me here. I love coffee. So I don't believe if you build your team through free agency, I don't think that works. However, if you're a really bad team, and you're trying to build your team through free agency, that's an exception. The Raiders, they kind of did that. They got rid of over half their roster. I agree with you 100% here, man. Oh God, I'm so embarrassed, man. Sometimes I do this. I get brain freezes. Defensive coordinator with the Jets, who was the head coach last year. I am so sorry, guys. I am embarrassed about this, man. I am so embarrassed about this. I forgot his name. Greg Williams. Okay. Greg Williams should have been the coach of the Browns, not Kitchens. Kitchens was a guy who was a coordinator for only 8 or 9 years. And then you're putting him with OBJ, and then you're putting him with all these expectations, and then the team's young. So, excuse me. I didn't really think that this was a good fit. And if it is a good fit, it's not going to win. Yeah, everybody thought this. And then everybody thought the Browns were going to win the Super Bowl, but they don't have the experience. I told people the Browns are going to be about 500 team, and I'm going to stand by that. But I do think for 2020, they could be really dangerous. They got some holes in the offensive line, and I don't like their run defense. I'm kind of curious because Dorsey made some mistakes here in Kansas City. I'm kind of curious what he's going to do to fix up that team. And he also had some problems with contracts here in Kansas City. So he's got some work to do, and it'll be interesting to watch the Browns. But I think they'll be a lot better than no, you're right. And I apologize. You put how far will the Niners go? And I want to get to this here, but yeah, the Browns. Wait till 2020. Wait till 2020. Did you hear about this? Myles Garrett said after the game, a fan punched him in the face. I mean, dude's like 6'5", 270, and he's terrible against the run. But still, of all the people you're going to punch in the face, you're going to punch that guy? Why are you punching him in the face, man? Jeez. I mean, God, Browns fans are weird. How far the Niners go is funny. This guy I just started to follow. And I may have him on the show one of these days. We just kind of ran into each other a couple weeks ago, and he's got his own sports. He does a lot of gambling stuff too. He posted on social media, Niners 4-0 aren't going to make the playoffs. And I responded, man, good defense and running games make playoffs. The Niners will go to the playoffs. I'm not sold on Garoppolo. Kittle is really good. Really, really, really good. So, yeah, it is assault. He told, I don't know if he pressed charges or not, but yeah, he got punched in the face. It was really, really weird. And then Bottlegate, yeah. Okay. Here's the thing about Cleveland, and I'm always going to hold a grudge against Cleveland. My mom moved to Ohio, and I'll get this in a second. My mom moved to Ohio, and she doesn't know the difference between a field goal and a touchdown. She doesn't know the difference between a hat trick and a touchdown. She knows nothing about sports. And this was when the Browns were moving to Baltimore, and she was from Baltimore, and she was just talking to somebody, and she mentioned that, and then she said, Danny, I'm never going to say anything like that again. She was like shaking, like she was so scared because people were mad at her from being from Baltimore, and she didn't even know. She had no idea. She didn't know anything about the Browns moving. So I'm always going, you scared my mom. My mom's this little 5'4", 120-pound lady, and she's scared to tell people she's from Baltimore. And it wasn't even in Cleveland. I think it was Akron, Ohio. So, no, he was actually, it was funny. He was a tight end in Iowa, but they didn't throw him the ball. He was more of a blocker. He's actually a great tight end. I love how they're using him. I really love how they're using him. I can even make a strong case he may be the best tight end in football, and I got Kelsey. I think Kelsey's better, but Kittle blocks, and I'm not trashing Kelsey when I say this because the Chiefs drafted him to play wide receiver. All right, he's called tight end, but he's basically a wide receiver. Kittle's a complete tight end. They don't ask Kelsey to block. But the thing is, though, what you probably saw was that they used him at some different positions because he's athletic enough. But it's funny because at Iowa, he was mostly a blocker. So, yeah, and in Eagles fans, this is the truth. I want to say it was 2004. It was an Andy Reid team, and the Chiefs were up 21-3, and the Eagles came back. It was when Terrell Owens was there, and there were some Eagles fans, and the cops came up to the Eagles fans. He's like, look, I mean, you're not doing anything illegal. And I was sitting right in front of this guy, and the guy, I heard the conversation. The cop's like, look, you're not doing anything illegal, but you're really ticking off. And he didn't say ticking. I'm going to, you know what? I'm screw it. You know, he said, hey, look, you're really pissing some people off here. If I was you, I'd turn it down because there's only so much I can do here. And the guy kind of, you know, started to calm down a little. He was like cat-a-corner to us. Like if I wanted to, I could throw something I could throw something and hit him. I don't do that, but he was a real jerk. Eagles fans are special and not in a good way. Dude, I'm going to tell you something. I was a Chiefs fan in 2012. Nobody was a Chiefs fan. And when the Royals won the World Series, there was people that didn't even know anything. I knew a guy spent $800 on World Series tickets, and he flat out said, I don't even follow baseball. I just want to go to a World Series game. There was that big parade here in Kansas City. The Royals get like 10,000 people now. It was Forever Royal. That lasted like 2 years. So, yeah, it was crazy. You know what? Somebody asked me, it might have been you, and I apologize. Somebody asked me earlier if who's going to get traded, and I've heard this several times, and I also heard that he wants big money, and the Falcons. I think the Falcons want to give him big money. The problem is the Falcons, I think, are going to clean house. So I think that Hooper could be gone, and he's a really good tight end. It'd be kind of curious. I'm really looking forward to the trade deadline because I want to see where some players go and everything like that. And listen, guys, I'm going to wrap this up here. I can't thank you enough for the awesome comments, the awesome stuff you've been hitting. Don't forget, you can always go to askandrewsfootball@yahoo.com. I'll answer any and all questions. I am really sorry that all my gambling stuff's now dedicated simply on Patreon. So I apologize for that. I know there's a few of you that have been liking some of my gambling content, but I kind of want to do just football talk here. And then my Patreon videos are going to be specifically just for gambling. I kind of want to differentiate the two. And that may change later on. But right now, I created this. I'm switching to live streams instead of videos because I want to hear from you. You guys have made comments tonight. I can't thank you enough because this is to me a dream come true because all I want to do is I just want to talk football with some good fans and some smart people. So listen, if you're a subscriber to my channel, you already know you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams are going to come true. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you Tuesday.